The hot summer day was drawing to a close. The evening twilight gradually enveloped the village, and when it came, the sky was covered with leaden clouds. The first drops fell. Lightning flashed in the distance, slicing the sky like a sickle, and the ground was shaken by thunderclaps. Drop by drop, the drizzle was replaced by a rough beat that pounded on the roof with monstrous force, as if it wanted to penetrate it and get inside. I hate the rain, the darkness, the dampness, the mud. As I stood at the window and watched the scene, I shivered. I wished the day would end soon. The smell of food wafted from the kitchen as my father prepared dinner. We sat down at the table and ate in silence, each of us thinking about our own things to the sound of the rain. After a while, I noticed that my eyelids had become much heavier, trying to send me to the dream world, and my instincts pulled me to my room. I didn't even remember falling asleep. In the morning, I found my father gone. All his things were at home: keys, phone, wallet. It was still raining outside, turning the ground into a slippery mess. Dad couldn't leave in this weather without an umbrella or a raincoat. Even his shoes were in place. That's not like him, I thought, and started calling the neighbors to see if they had seen him. I spent about 4 hours on the phone, calling almost everyone in the village, or rather everyone I knew and where my father could stay, but all to no avail. The seemingly harmless rain was now turning into a real disaster, and with it, the fear. I spent the next few hours pacing around the house, looking out the windows, then out on the porch, smoking and looking as far away as I could, for the thick wall of rain limited my view. My gut told me that something had happened or was about to happen. Evening crept up, and with it the panic that enveloped me more and more. I decided to call the police and report my father's disappearance. Waiting for an answer, I took a breath and started to tell them what was going on. The person I was talking to interrupted me without letting me finish. What he said shocked me, and my body was gripped by fear, primal, clammy, and cold. I felt goosebumps all over my body, and my legs gave out, so I staggered and sat down on the first chair I could find. "Are you all in on this? You're the 7th person to report a missing person today." I sat in my chair and stared at the same spot for several minutes. "Hello? Hello?" It came from the phone, but I didn't react. I was paralyzed. Seven people are missing," I said aloud, still sitting motionless with my mouth open. I immediately realized that all this was not in vain. I sat up late into the night thinking about it, the disappearances keeping me awake, but the need for sleep took over and I fell asleep. I was awakened by a knock at the window, a short, not loud, but clear knock. I thought it was my imagination, or that a branch from a nearby tree had come crashing through the window in a gust of wind. But just in case, I decided to check. Outside the window was impenetrable darkness, except for the occasional flash of lightning that engulfed the entire sky, turning it into a giant web and illuminating the area for many miles. As you might expect, I couldn't see anything but total darkness. But when the lightning flashed again, I could see something. The silhouettes of people. They were everywhere, and there were a lot of them. Some were in the road, others near the neighbor's house, a few people on my lawn. They just stood there, as if waiting for something. Suddenly, one of them leaned against the window. I drew back in surprise. My heart was pounding like crazy, like it wanted to jump out of my chest and crawl away. When I looked closer, I could see that my father was standing outside the window, in the darkness, looking in. His face was different, pale, and his eyes were covered with a white veil. His mouth was twisted horribly and blood was dripping from it. He was making incomprehensible noises, chattering his jaw and running his palm over the glass, staring at me with his lifeless eyes. Then he started banging on the glass with his hands and head, smashing his face. Then others joined him. I was surrounded on all sides, and these devils managed to climb up to the roof and beat on it with inhuman force. The door was blown off its hinges and the windows were all shattered. However, everything stopped in an instant, and there was silence. The freaks stood motionless as before, as if they had been switched off. I stood in the middle of the room and watched in horror, not even trying to do anything. I had nowhere to run. The house was surrounded. As I looked more closely, I began to recognize these creatures as my neighbors and residents of our village. They all looked like my father, just as crooked and ugly. A policeman stood among them. There was a clap of thunder. The creatures on the threshold slowly separated. Soon, a terrifying creature appeared where the door had been. It was a woman, or rather, it had once been a woman. Now she was a walking corpse. There was no flesh in some places, but internal organs and bones were visible. The skull was covered with a few tufts of dirty, sticky hair that blew in all directions in the wind. One eye was missing, replaced by blackness. After a brief silence, the creature howled like a wolf, and all the creatures scattered. But not for long. Half a minute later, they began to shred the roof of the house with anything they could get their hands on. Rebar, rocks, or their bare hands. Soon the roof started leaking. Water droplets were flying all over the house, and I ran to my room in terror and hid in a closet in the far corner. I realized everything. Rainwater is a channel. With its help, this thing controls their minds and turns them into obedient dogs, faithfully serving their mistress and obeying every command without question. But I could not understand why they could not enter the house. I guess I'll never know. This is the third hour I've been sitting in the closet. Sitting here writing all this. I don't know why or why not. Outside, the infected are breaking the roof like crazy. When will they get tired? Water is dripping everywhere, from walls, ceilings, and a lake on the floor. Water is also seeping through the left bar and the roof of the closet. My legs are numb. I can't write anymore because my body won't listen. I'm tormented by an overwhelming desire to go outside without fear of getting wet, sick, infected, or dead. I hate the rain.